Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Paul, I'm with the Dicey Review, and tonight we're going to be learning how to play the 2 to 6 player game Joystick Heroes, coming to Kickstarter soon. Joystick Heroes comes with all of the components that you see here, including 8 hero pawns with stands, 8 hero boards, 48 ticket tokens, a starting player pizza marker, 9 scoring dice, 1 game die, 50 total prize chips, 44 power cards, 48 game cards separated into standard and premium games, 6 reference cards, 60 arcade tokens, and 65 power cubes. To begin setup, first build the arcade. To do this, shuffle both the standard and the premium game cards together, and then lay a number of those game cards face up in the middle of the table based on the player count. In our 2-player game, we're going to be placing 6 face up. You can arrange those in any way that you like. And once you've done that, place the game card deck to the side within easy reach of all players. Then create your hero by choosing a hero board, the hero pawn that matches that board, and then taking 6 red power cubes. Place 1 power cube each in the bottom section of your 4 skills, which are indicated by these symbols. Then pick 2 of the 4 genres over on the right side of your player board to power up as well. It's usually a good idea to power up the genre skills which match games that are out on the table. So for instance, this player has powered up classic and sci-fi genres, as there are multiple games of that type out on the table. Next, shuffle up and deal out 3 power cards to each player, and then place the power card deck to the side of the play area within reach of all players. Give each player 10 tokens, and then make sure and place the power cubes, prizes, tickets, and dice within easy reach of all players. Then, whoever has played the video game most recently gets the first player marker, and you're ready to play. In Joystick Heroes, the goal is to get the most prizes. Whoever gets the most prizes wins. A game will last for several rounds, and each round has 2 steps: the play phase and then the power-up phase. And in the play phase, a player will take a turn, starting with the player who has the pizza marker and then going clockwise. And on their turn, a player will move their pawn to one of the unoccupied arcade games in the play area, place one of their tokens on the card to show that they're playing that game, and then play the game by rolling dice to try and get the best score they can. Then the player will check to see what skills the game requires and what genre the game is to see how many scoring dice they'll get to roll. For each matching skill or genre cube a player has on their player board, they'll get to roll 1 of the scoring dice. So for instance, this player has 1 cube in the joystick skill, 1 cube in the shooting skill, and 1 cube in the classic genre. This means they'll get to roll 3 scoring dice. In addition to the scoring dice, the players always get to roll the game die as well. On the silver standard games, players will simply roll their dice 1 time to see how good of a score they get. In this instance, the player was able to get a score of 700. This matches or exceeds the 2nd level of the game, which means that they would get 2 tickets as a reward for getting this score. If a player ever rolls a high enough score to beat the high score value on a card, they would instead get the reward shown to the right of the high score value. In this instance, they would get 1 prize token. And it's important to note that a player can take any prize token even though this symbol always shows a duck. If a player decides to play one of the premium games, which are indicated by the gold cards, they're played a little bit differently than the standard silver games. The premium games have 3 separate levels that can be attempted by the player. The player would roll 3 times, attempting to pass each level. So for instance, in this case, the player has passed level 1 by meeting or exceeding the score of 500, so now they would get to attempt level 2. If the player rolls what they need to pass level 2, they would then get to attempt level 3. If a player is able to get to level 3, they can attempt to get the level 3 bonus. If while rolling for their level 3 bonus, they roll a high enough score to get the high score, they would get that reward instead. So in this example, if the player rolled 900 or more, they could get 5 tickets, but if they were able to roll 1300 on their level 3 attempt, they would get the high score bonus instead of getting the level 3 reward. But it's important to note that on these premium games, you can only achieve the high score if you've made it to the 3rd level. And with the premium game, you would always get the reward of the most recent level that you've passed. So for instance, if this player passed level 2 but wasn't able to get the level 3 score, they would still get 3 tickets as a reward. After a player has played a game and collected their rewards, their turn would be over. It's important that after a player's turn is over, they keep their pawn where it was on the table. This means that a player isn't able to play the same game they played in the last round unless they have a power card that says otherwise. It's important to note that if a machine ever has 3 tokens on it, or if anyone ever scores the high score, the machine is immediately removed from the arcade and replaced with the game card from the top of the stack. Now that we've talked about a turn structure, I'd like to talk about the game die and power cards in a bit more detail. A player can never have more than 3 power cards, and power cards can be played at any time on your turn. The power card will indicate the type of skill or ability that it allows. For instance, this power card would let you change the game die to any symbol that you want to. And you can play as many power cards on your turn as you would like. Some power cards would even let you play the same game that you played in the last round, breaking the normal rule. The game die is a special die that can affect your score in different ways. Most of the time it's pretty straightforward. The game die will either add points or subtract points from your score, but there are 2 symbols that are special. If you roll the key symbol, this symbol would allow you to discard one of your power cards to gain the indicated bonus to your score instead of using the power card's main ability. So this is a way to get some extra points to try and reach a higher score on your turn. If you roll a heart on the game die, this means that you've gained an extra life, and this would give you the ability to add 1 extra scoring die to your roll if you wanted to. In addition to adding the scoring die, you would get to re-roll the game die as well. This ability is optional, however, because it's possible that this roll could give you negative scores if you roll badly on the game die and the scoring die. There are also 2 types of games that are multiplayer indicated by these 2 symbols on the top of the card. The cards showing this symbol are versus mode cards and will allow a player to go head-to-head to try and get the best score. These cards can be played solo just like normal, but if a player wants to, they can take their turn early by placing a token on the card as well, which breaks the normal rule of allowing 1 player per card. Each player would play the card just like normal, but the winner would get 2 extra tickets in addition to their normal prize. Cards that have this symbol at the top are co-op games, and these cards will allow a player to borrow stats from another player if they want. These games can be played solo just like any other card, or you can pay a willing player 1 ticket to use one of their categories on their player board instead of your own. So for instance, you could pay a player a ticket to use their adventure stats instead of your own, increasing the amount of dice you could roll potentially. After all players have taken their turn, it's now time for the power-up phase, where players can buy prizes, power cubes, and get to draw their power-up cards. Players can simultaneously purchase rewards, and the costs for rewards are different based on what you're buying. Players can, if they want to, buy more cubes to power up their skills. A player can only buy skills or genre cubes that match the symbols that are shown on the game that they most recently played. So for instance, this player could buy cubes to upgrade either their joystick, buttons, or adventure skills. To upgrade one of their 4 skills categories, it would cost a player 3 tickets. If a player wanted to upgrade one of their genres, it would only cost 2 tickets. And there's not a limit to how many skills or genres a player can upgrade as long as they have the tickets to spend. A player can, if they want to, simply buy one of the prize tokens. This would cost them 5 tickets, but is important because the more prizes they have, the better chance they have of winning. Each player that has less than 3 power cards would draw 1. The first player token would pass to the next player in clockwise order, and a new round would begin. If an all-play tournament card is ever drawn, 1 free game would be triggered after the current power-up phase that all players can take part in. To complete this tournament, you would draw the next game card from the deck, and everybody would play this game for free and get their winnings as normal, and the top scorer would win 1 bonus prize token. You can use power cards just like usual when playing this all-tournament game, and if there's a tie, the top scorers will replay to decide the winner. Play will continue in this way until all players are out of tokens after a play phase. After this happens, players would do one final power-up phase without drawing any power cards, and then whoever has the most prizes would be the winner. If there's a tie, the tied players would compete in one final all-play tournament to determine the winner. Alright everybody, that was our video. Thanks so much for watching. We hope that it was helpful and we hope that it was informative. If you have any questions about how to play, please comment below or email us directly at thedicey@gmail.com. And make sure and check out the Kickstarter page. I'll have the link to that in the description of this video. Make sure and connect with us on social media or by visiting our Board Game Geek Guild. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.